What's up? It's Lip Service. I'm Angela Yee.
I'm Gigi Maguire.
I'm Jordy George.
I'm Zuri Pryor-Graves.
And I'm your girl, Eva Marcille.
Ladies
night.
Listen, this show didn't even start, and I feel like we already did half an episode.
Right. Keen, because the chat has definitely been happening.
But let's just make sure we're all familiar with who everybody is here, because Zuri Pryor-Graves, you are an intimacy coordinator.
I am.
And a mental health expert.
I am.
Clinician.
Yes.
Like, run it down, because I don't want to miss anything.
Those are the two main things. But I'm a sexuality educator, and I used to be a sex therapist.
What's a
But
sexuality educator?
Well, when I was doing it, I used to write curriculum for sex education in schools, and it was also at a time where HR policies didn't include language around trans identities and all these. So revising corporate PR policies to make sure that they're inclusive of everyone.
Well, they about to throw all that out, girl, because the wait times.
Better get it in before January.
I know.
Wow.
The wait times are looking sheesh. And Eva, before we even started this, we were talking about Eat, Slay, Love. And of course, we are excited for all the Queensmen coming back on November 28th.
There's so many kings in there, though. I get it.
Right. Yeah,
I
listen.
The kings
I know.
We actually, yesterday, me, Jordan, and Gigi were at my house, and we were watching, like, binging everything, Eat, Slay, Love, but also catching up on season 3 so that we could get ready for season 4 of all the Queensmen.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And listen, when we were looking at, like, the preview of what happened on the previous season, we were like, hold on, let's run that back again, because we need to catch back up, because I don't even remember this. But you know how it is. There's so much happening. Like,
there's so much happening, and that's what I love about doing TV and film. I always say that entertainment, especially actors in TV and film, we satisfy two things. We either make it relatable, which is why reality TV became such a big thing, or watching yourself watching your favorite TV shows like Living Single back in the day. It was relatable, right? Like that's your aunt, that's your mom, that's you. And then the other thing we look for is an escape. From like whatever our life is, the election, breakups, just whatever. You just need an escape from reality. And so that's what I feel like TV does. And that's what I enjoy doing as an entertainer, is bringing all of those things to the forefront.
Thank you, madam. Do you guys have an intimacy coordinator on set?
What? Is Grits Groceries?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to on that show.
When I found out that you were bringing an intimacy coordinator, you have no idea how excited I was. Because it is the one question a lot of actors are asked when they do work that is not PG.
Right.
And a show like mine has every letter. It's like PGMATZXY
Couple X's in there.
Right. So it's like we come out Thanksgiving Day, get ready, get stuffed. We have 2 episodes for you, but they're not for your kids. And in that, there is sex. Right. There's a lot of what intimacy looks like in different versions. And so people are often asked, I'm often asked, like, how you do that scene? Yeah. Like, did he really?
Absolutely.
Like, and I try to explain it the best way I can. I know on All the Queen's Men season 2, my co-star and I had a love scene on a jet, and
joined the Mile High Club.
Yeah.
I joined the Mile
Went to the White House.
It was so many things.
And then you gave back that diamond necklace.
Right.
We were like,
Girl,
sis,
like,
are
why
you
did you do
crazy?
that?
Because Angela, we can buy our own diamonds.
I get it, but
I'm just saying, like, it's okay.
You're right.
It's okay. But in that scene, people often ask, like, what was what? So you're the person that I am used to leaning on at work. That's like, I know you're having sex. Like, do you want to keep your bra on? Do you want like a one piece?
Right.
Like,
do you want a body double?
Right.
Do you want a body double? That's often a very big thing.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that bottom half wasn't me. Like, you saw me with the G-string. Like, all of the
You'd
other
be like,
stuff.
I'll be drinking tea in my trailer while you guys
I'm watching her like,
I'm watching the same thing you watching.
Right. So but the amount of comfort that actors are provided with intimacy coordinators. I mean, I can look back at my sex scenes and I choreographed it to a T. So I have it videotaped 5-6 times in jogging pants prior to. So there was no question of like, ain't no tongue slip in here. Like, I was supposed to move my head that way to, and so it's you that taught me that, or the intimacy coordinator. So I applaud you and I appreciate you.
Yeah, Zuri, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So I mean, that was such a good rundown, especially including bodysuits and different things. But the main thing I feel like is that people are not actually having sex. A lot actors get questions all the time like that. Right. No, but what we do is we do our best to try to make it look like they are while keeping them safe. So coming to Eva and being like, hey, what are you comfortable with in this scene in terms of what are you wearing? You know, what are the movements that we can work out, and developing really repeatable and really specific actions that are associated with those sex scenes. And that's what we do with our actors. And we do a lot of other things like behind the cameras to make sure legally that these actors are protected and that the production is protected. So
and talk about protection, because they literally, like, ladies, you've heard of commandos?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a big underwear kind of girl, so I don't wear those in my personal life. But there is not a sex scene you do without like everything's covered.
What's commandos?
That's like it's
like the little thin panties.
It's like a thin, but it's like it takes over everything.
Yeah,
okay.
Like so you can't see it. So if you want to wear those cute dresses where the sides are cut out,
okay,
and
the
like,
regular underwear you could buy. I thought it was something special.
No,
like
imagine like a nose, one of those breathe right nose strips for your vajay.
Yeah, and it covers it like completely.
Yes.
But this is the gag. The men wear them too.
Yes.
The men they put their stuff in a pouch. They push it back under there. No, seriously. And it's like they put their stuff in a pouch like a leprechaun. Like I go and they tie it on there,
and then
they push it around. So there is like no space. Like, so if you hear someone like, "Oh, I got aroused," or "This happened,"
it's impossible
with it taped down. How?
And with 50 people in the room.
And it's cold.
Yeah. People always say that it's kind of awkward with everybody watching you. And I'm sure, do you also coordinate that? Like, I don't want as many people on set, because that can be uncomfortable too.
Right. And that's called a closed set.
I was gonna say, I've always had a closed set. TP, shout out to TP, but he is very sincere about like cameraman only.
Absolutely.
And the necessary actors. Like, that's it.
Right.
So it makes it very comfortable. Right. And then the intimacy coordinators there.
I would feel like now as a model, because I feel like models tend to be more comfortable with their bodies than the average person.
For sure. But
so
someone between your legs and your body is very different.
Yeah.
So like if we had to change as girls in here right now, like I wouldn't need to go into the room. I'd take my shirt off, put another shirt on. Y'all got boobs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we all know areolas. But if I'm supposed to have like a man in between my legs right now doing something,
put his head right here, that happens a lot on All the Queen's Men.
Yeah, it was I wasn't ready for it.
But what's good about you is that you always get to shut everybody down. Like I know you've had your sex scenes, but they're not as like, it's not like you're having sex with a bunch of people. Because I feel like if it was a man running a strip club,
he would be fucking everything.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that, because if you flip this whole show upside down and made like P-Valley, where the women are the objects and the men are more of the leadership position, it's a whole nother show, which is what makes All the Queen's Men so dope.
Yeah.
Because I see Angela, I see you, I see you, I see you, because we are bosses, women in our own right. And so I get to play a role where I take from all of these boss women everything I know, really the savvy, the cunningness, the tact. You know what I'm saying?
Killing
Knowing when
people,
to hold and when to fold.
You know what?
And
if necessary.
And how you kill people. You know, it's a very tactful woman thing to do.
Yeah.
You know?
We had an idea too watching the show. We were like,
what's your idea?
Now, have you been to a male review show in real life? Because these ladies have.
I just turned 40.
I haven't.
So yes.
Okay.
I've hosted them before.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking.
I mean,
have you, Zuri? Have you ever
been to one?
One?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
It was in DC.
Not even
Chippendales? No.
So my idea was, and I was telling Gigi while we were watching, I said, for this new season, at some point, we should have the guys come and really do a male review show at
Magic
like
City.
a fun one with industry people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And all women like inside the club.
So you're trying to
just
be
like
mad.
Eden. Like you are.
No, you.
This is for your show.
Because who gets what cut?
No. But I was
where's Diamond who's splitting up the money?
This is a good promotional thing though.
It is beautiful.
Because imagine like how many women have never been to a male review show, just talking to them about it. Because I've been before, because I've hosted, and it was really fun.
Candy Burris's dungeon party.
Yes.
No
I've
one
never
went to
been.
that.
No.
It was
and
epic.
Candy is my girl.
It was
I need to be at the
epic.
next one.
And Michael Boweire was a part of it.
Yeah.
Who's in our show?
Bolo. Right?
That's his stage
Bolo
name.
done got all kind of drama.
We heard about Bolo, child.
She's like, okay, moving on.
Like,
I didn't talk about me.
Very
so
smart,
anyway.
Tyler Perry. Put
Right.
Bolo on there. But
no, Boreland, what I think is dope about him, and the reason why I call him Boreland is because the first day we started working, Kim Phillips was directing us, and we were just rehearsing. Mm-hmm. And I pulled him to the side because I know how it is to be prejudged. I know how it is to people to have some kind of expectation of me or idea of me. Mm-hmm. And it really sucks because I'm just me. And 9 times out of 10, you've got a better version of me today than yesterday. And please don't let the man yesterday tell you my story. So when it comes to Boreland, when I met him, I asked him, I said, what do you want to be called? Like, how do you want me to address you? And he said, my name is Michael.
Okay.
I said, so what do you want me to call you? Michael, Bolo? He said, call me Michael. So at work, I'm so used to him being called Michael.
Right. You're like, who?
Yeah. Or I call him Bowire. Like, and that's where I guess Bolo came from.
Okay.
But
his last name.
He's the consummate professional. He's an absolute doll face. And he is one that had no acting experience. Mm-hmm. But what he did have is the authenticity of the life of what really happens at him. Like, and he knows it. So there was no script to tell him how to posture.
Be him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Tyler did a really good job at bringing in both seasoned actors and then seasoned dancers.
Right.
And making us learn what that marriage looked like to make a great show.
Yeah.
Now, Zuri, you also work on Reasonable Doubt. Right. I love that show.
I do too.
And it's coming back for season, 3 now?
I hope so. Well,
yeah, no, I think they announced it.
Yeah, they announced it.
Oh, yes. A couple of days ago.
Yeah, they just announced that. It's coming back. Wait, is it season 4?
Season 3.
Season 3. Okay.
This is the one with Morris Chestnut.
Yes.
Why is that the one person you know? This is the one with Morris Chestnut.
Yeah, I mean, she's still the boss. She's the judge, but...
Okay. So, and there's definitely some steamy scenes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Perfect. I'm excited for that new season to start.
Yeah. It was an amazing show to work on.
When did they start having these intimacy coordinators on set? Like, because I feel like this wasn't something that was a thing prior to this.
No.
Like a few years ago.
It was, 2017 was Me Too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
2018, people started to get together to try to figure out what this was going to be. I think by 2019 is when people were implementing intimacy coordinators on sets. So that's like P-Valley. Season 1 was 2019, and they had an intimacy coordinator. And a lot of things were picking up at Tyler Perry Studios. A lot of films and TV picked up on it in Atlanta, which was really good.
Atlanta's so forward with these types of
They
things.
really are.
Mm-hmm. And thanks to Tyler Perry, I feel like, because he be on it.
Well, TP just looks out for his people.
Right.
In every single way. Like, in every way, from food to transportation to... the check, no question, right? But a lot of people figure like I'll get the check, but so if they don't have my food, like it's okay. Or if my trailer is not, right, it's like he makes sure everything across the board. And even if the scene is written like as an intimacy coordinator, written where it's supposed to be a little bit more provocative or like I'm supposed to throw a left boob in there. If I'm not left boob feeling it today, then that part's out.
Right.
The show goes on, everyone's fine, like
It's not a big.
It's not a
He's
deal.
not trying to convince you. I always think about.
Ever.
Do you? Everybody here see Fame? Remember that part
Yes.
where she's sitting in front of the camera? That is such a powerful scene where he's like telling her to take off her shirt, and she's crying because she doesn't want to do it. You got to see the movie Fame. But that scene right there is Irene Cara, and it's like
that sounds terrible.
really and she doesn't want to do it because sometimes people will tell you they get convinced to do things that they're not completely comfortable.
It's called Me Too.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the whole Me Too movement, like the idea of discomfort, but still having to do it because you want your job and you want all the rest of your job. You just don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And some
You know
people,
what I mean?
Yes,
Yes,
and then
yes.
people will be like, well, you agreed to it. Why didn't you say something at the time? Because I hear people say stuff like that. And I can think of so many times that we
So
all
many
did
times.
something and didn't say anything at the
Absolutely,
time,
right.
but we were not comfortable. And then it's like, damn, you feel like it is an intimidating thing.
It
And sometimes
is.
you feel a little powerless in that moment.
Right. And that's part of our job is to try to dismantle the hierarchy of things. And especially in Atlanta where there are so many projects that are indie films or smaller projects where they're inviting all these young Black actors. They don't a lot of times know what to ask for. They
Right.
sign contracts and the contracts have these really, really broad nudity clauses and things like that. And then they get on set. They might be they've already flown in, they're put up and everything, and then they get all their scripts.
Right.
And they're like, wait, I agreed to do that.
You're like, ooh, I don't know if I feel
so that happens more
all
than people think.
Queensmen, you get every single scene, even if it's not my scene. You know every scene of intimacy that's going on. You know where it's scheduled in the day. Like, my attorney had to sign off, my ex-husband, my attorney signed off on every single, I mean, even if it's just a kiss, if it's a pat on the butt, there is no way to mince any of this.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is that how most projects are, or is that just, you know,
Well, see,
or do you think that Tyler Perry is way more intentional than the average?
Well, I know Tyler is way more intentional than, I mean, I worked around COVID.
Right.
And Tyler was in a bubble. And we got tested 3 times a day and couldn't start work for 2 weeks, quarantine, just to ensure like his level of protection all the way around. But I think he protects everything he does.
Right.
Very well. And protects the actors. That's why when you hear an actor talk about like working with T, it's like, there is absolutely no comparison.
I saw when I interviewed Debbie Morgan, I saw you left a comment. She was talking about getting her salary and how he gave her more money after. Like, they paid you with...
I was at Disney World with my 3 kids one year, maybe last year or year before last. And he calls me and he's like, what do you make? Here's a raise. And I already had a guaranteed raise in there. It was way more than the guarantee.
Wow.
Just like off the strength. Like, you've been working. When I tell you Tyler's heart and his generosity, what he does versus what he has to do in comparison.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I did Young and the Restless. I was on Smallville. I done Everybody Hates Chris. Like, I've ran the gamut of television shows. There is nothing
No comparison.
that compares to working
That's
at
amazing.
TPS. There really isn't.
And that's why I saw people in the comments like, y'all be wanting to slam Tyler Perry on social media. Can't nobody tell me anything bad about Tyler Perry.
You can't tell me anything at all because Tyler, if you work after Tyler, it's because you want to, not because you have to.
That's real.
That's real.
Like, real talk. Like, you keep working because you love the art. But as far as him taking care of you, you're good. Your ability to tolerate other sets. I'm like, why are we still here?
How did you get the role in the first place as Madam?
I got a phone call. Tyler called me and said, I have a script. It's different, very different.
Very different.
But I know you can hold it. I'm going to send it to you, read it. Let me know what you think.
And what was your first reaction?
Damn. My first reaction was like, yo, sis is a boss.
Yes,
Like,
she's a savage.
And the clothes be top tier.
that's
my God.
Rayonda Greene. I have to shout out
Baby, them
Rayonda.
fashions.
If you've seen
The fittings on your body, on the fashion.
my next fitting is on.
I can't wait till next season. I can't wait because
She is a beast. But Rayonda Vereen has worked with TP for quite some time. And as you see him elevate his production, he does it in every department. And Rayonda, she kills it. She knows Black women's body. She knows women. She knows clothes. She knows, just period. That's all Rayonda.
Well, she's doing an amazing
Yes.
job.
Yes,
Everything
she
looks
does.
so nice on you.
Yes.
Like,
Thank you.
It's fire. I like both, but I like your style there, but I also like to see you like on East Lay Love wearing your sweats.
My regular,
I like that too.
The me.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could do both. Get you a girl that could do
that's
both.
a character. I play a character.
I know, but
and-
it still looks amazing. I
Thank
mean,
you. Oh, yeah, she kills
it's
it.
aspirational.
Yes, and there are a lot of women that are like that. I mean, look at who was just on the bill for nominee for president. I mean, there are Black women that are out here bossing up in our
Yes.
power suits every
Killing the
single day
suit.
trying
Right.
to change the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Those power suits were different though. Those
They do.
I don't know
Those
if you
power
fit-
suits ain't have what we
the difference between
No shade to the
Kamala and
PP,
I
it's a little
is
different.
she's demure.
Yeah.
I'm very demure.
very much
Very no
demure.
shirts. Very not
Imagine
cute
Kamala
sitting.
came out with no shirt under her suit.
I mean, she
oh,
moved
my God.
out. I'd let him out now.
Listen,
I'd let him
do
out
it
now.
now.
Free the nip now.
Baby.
Come on, Madam VP.
Why
That's
not?
so funny.
let them out.
Now, Zuri, you also do therapy for families, for couples, right? Individual therapy. You do all of. I don't even know how you have time to do all of this.
Right. Busy.
But how important do you think that couples therapy is for people who say are getting married or who are married?
I think it's really important, especially even new relationships. I tell people, don't wait until there's a problem to have a support system, even if it's like a once-a-month check-in. Establishing someone that you can talk to that's outside of your marriage that isn't your friend or your family member or something like that can really help sustain a marriage or any relationship.
It's hard to find the right therapist too. I try to get
Absolutely.
I tried to get my boyfriend to do therapy.
Yeah.
He went it was like on Zoom one time and he was not feeling it.
Right.
He was like, well, tried it, didn't work.
Was it a man or a woman?
It was a woman.
Was it?
Yeah. She started telling him her problems.
Well, yes, okay, she was not the right fit.
Is that a thing?
That's countertransference.
No, she was not the right one.
That doesn't work.
Feel bad for her.
But for couples therapy, I find, having been married, having done therapy before getting married, doing personal therapy for myself, a Black woman works for me, right? Because a Black woman relates to me, she understands. So for personal therapy, but for couples therapy, I literally just had this conversation with my best friend saying, is there a world where you use more than just one therapist?
Oh, yes.
Where you will use a man and a woman, not necessarily at the same time, just to create a sense of balance and equity when it comes to the male perspective or the female perspective. So it's like having a doctor or gynecologist. Like, I don't mind if my PCP is a man, but my OBGYN is a woman. It needs to be a woman. I don't care how much you learned about feminine anatomy. You don't get it because you don't get it.
Yeah.
And no
That
more
makes
than
sense.
I can truly understand a man. I raised boys. I was raised with boys. I got daddy, like all that. But I don't know, truly.
That's so interesting.
So
That is a very
wonder.
interesting standpoint.
I know that a lot of times people go into couples therapy and they already have a therapist. And then they're like, they're discussing issues within their relationship. And then they're like, I want to bring my partner in. To me, that is unethical. I don't think that's, I mean, I feel like there's maybe a session, but at some point you need to make sure that it is a safe space for both people. And I think that's when you outsource. Could that other original party be a part of that conversation? I think that would be pretty interesting outside of like maybe an initial session where you're telling, hey, this is what we've been talking about. This is why I'm, transferring care to this person. I think it'd be really interesting to continue that, and also with the consideration of both of those energies in the space.
Well, I mean, like 3 months with you, and then maybe your practice, you have a male that works with you. You have made him privy of all of our issues, where we started, where our growth is, all of that. And then now have him for the next 3 months.
For the male POV.
You see what I'm saying? And just go back and forth. And just while I'm considering some more therapy, wondering if that is something that is just a Walt Disney of me, like no one can see it yet, or is that something that's done or doable?
I've never seen that done.
Okay.
I could see it in the way that they're both in the room at the same time.
Okay.
But I feel like the issue would be the disconnect. So you'd have, you said 3 months, you'd have 3 months of development and progress. Therapy's not linear, but you'd have all these things that come up. And there's an ethical boundary of like, how much should I share? How do I share that information? Is that other therapists going and listening to all of those, are we recording these sessions? I don't know what that relationship would look like to make sure that the therapy felt cohesive, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But I can see, I've never seen, I've seen like couples be like, hey, they're a husband and wife and they're not therapists, but they do therapy or like counseling.
Yeah, we don't want them.
Right.
But that's the only time I've ever seen two people
in the room.
Yeah.
Or on the same case.
How was it difficult to get your ex-husband to do therapy with you when you guys were getting married and before that?
Mental health therapy, I think, is a beautifully new idea for the Black community. It's something that has not been normalized growing up, and Black men, especially
hard.
Black, it's so difficult. So I can say there was a struggle, but truth be told, the first therapy we ever went to was his advice, which was marriage counseling. Like before getting married, like let's sit down with my pastor. He's not going to marry us.
That's how you slide in first. Like,
without even, you know what I mean? But I just think it's a traditional thing. And I love the Black men that have sought therapy, or the couples that do, that are bold enough to tell their story, because I think it's extremely encouraging. And you don't realize how important and necessary therapy is until you jump the hurdle of ego.
Okay.
And actually start doing it.
Yes.
When
and
you
it's the
do,
right
you're
person
like,
too.
It is so good.
Like, how did you find the right therapist?
It took a while. I actually heard her speak. And I heard her speak about the ideals of what relationships are and how we came up with these ideas. And she used an example of the Disney idea. She said, we are taught literally since children, I know you know it, that woman meets man, or boy meets girl, they fall in love, there's some kind of struggle you have to fight through, then you jump over that hurdle, now we're at the top of the mountain and everything's happily ever after. Right. So you grow up as an adult trying to figure out, like, how do I get that in my relationship? And then social media plays a part, and your girlfriend whose relationship looks amazing plays a part of your comparison to your man. You like, well, I didn't get no flowers, you know, and she got a Birkin. You know what I mean? So there's all of that I think that comes into it. But when the way I saw her break down how we have been programmed to look at relationships showed me a lot of her brain. And I am a very independent thinker. So it just felt right for me. It took me about a year and change before I finally reached out. So do not be discouraged if this conversation is merely a seed and someone else waters it later and then you sprout up in a year. But after finally, I was just at my low and I was like, look, girl, I need somebody to talk to that does not know me. And life is tap dancing all over my ass. I feel like the devil has me on his number one hit list. He wake up early for me. He go to sleep late, looking for me like, what is going on? And so,
does work help you
escape?
Yeah, no, seriously, because sometimes when things happen, some people are throwing themselves into work, and some people are like can't work. You know, some people are like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to leave the house. I don't feel like doing anything. But some people are like, okay, I don't even want to have to think about this. Let me go and let me just work nonstop and keep it moving.
That's dissociative behavior.
Talk about it.
We don't want to do that. Where you can make that separation and you throw yourself into your work and you live there. And those people take that work home with them. And they live there too. And that, depending on what role you're playing, like we have Keith Ledger, you know, who passed.
Yes.
You know, and these different people who can't ever undo those characters. So I have seen that. I've also seen people use their work for shadow work.
So what does that mean? Break it down.
Like, say they're playing someone who is a victim of sexual violence. And they are a victim of sexual violence.
Oh, so they're shadowing their real life.
Yes, and they use it as an opportunity to heal. Because if it's scripted,
you mean
they have
cathartic? You mean
at
your work as an actor?
Yes.
Absolutely, every day, girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes it could work.
And sometimes it absolutely can work.
It could be really scary.
Yeah.
I have a question, and actually I think you could speak to this a lot too. I have a background in modeling, but I have a background in reality TV. Okay. And I felt like when we stopped filming, we should have had like a post-production therapist.
Yes.
Not even so much because of like any traumatic thing that happened. It was almost even like a paranoia experience I had where I'm like, oh, I'm in the bathroom. Oh shit, is my mic on? Or things like that. Or like,
in here.
I'm like, is somebody listening to me? Are they looking at my text messages? And I know even for my show, I never dealt with this per se, but you know, people were intimate. And that was their real life that was out there for everybody to see.
Might I ask what show it is?
Summer House, Martha's Vineyard.
Ew, hey girl.
Yeah. So that was interesting to witness and to see how it's like, okay, see you when we have green screen. And there was no bridge in there. And then you also do have the, what are they going to show and what are people going to say about me?
Right. So that's called being a reality star. I can speak to both of those.
Right. But even as an actor, do you guys have post?
So starting reality. I started one of the first reality shows before we even knew what the genre was called. I mean, we had Survivor, and then I think the year after we had Real World, and the year after or during mine was American Idol. So we didn't even really, it wasn't even a genre there, let alone, as you know, laws and structure that was covered union-wide.
Absolutely.
It's still not union, but what I have experienced working with NBC Universal and with working with Housewives, we don't start a show without knowing who the show's therapist is. The show's therapist has a practice, so if you're not comfortable with that person, you can choose someone else. And at any point in filming, if you're like, look, I need a moment, they are bound by ethical rules. They can't say anything, but there has always been provided a therapist. And so if for me, a best option to cope in this situation is to tap out and walk out, that's what I do.
So you had that on America's Next Top Model?
Not on Top Model.
Oh, okay. I was
before
like,
Top Model, but for Housewives.
Okay, for Housewives. You did.
And I think you were talking about later on as life changed and the business changed and TV changed and we went from regular to streaming and all this stuff. That's one thing I've definitely had on Housewives. It was very Dr. such and such, and she's there. You have someone to call so that you don't feel that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there is now, I just know that for NBC Universal, there is it's required in contract, and even after the fact, if there's remnants and you just still feel away, you do not have to use your own insurance, girl, or your own money. You can call them. They are obligated to.
So did they not have that for Summer House?
I think it was our second season that they started. Like, we always had to get a psych eval before we showed up anywhere. But we didn't actually have that knowledge until the third season that I shot.
After the fact,
Yeah.
So like, I've also done reality, but I did like a game show, and I did. I'm not an actress, and I did Escape of Survival for Survival, which was an Amazon Prime reality show, and we did the psych eval ahead of time, and even still in that process, we knew that there was a person because we met that person. That person wasn't on the ground. We actually had someone who did have some psychological issues, and they had to be escorted off the episode. And being able, like, being a therapist myself, going to production and being like, what support, like, you didn't do enough communication with us to know what we could do in these situations, and asking for it and advocating for it. And then I did the game show, and similar thing. We had 100 people, and one of those people ended up having a manic episode, and there was no one. And that's just because it just is, it's not for every network is not taking that into consideration, unfortunately. So that's actually one of the things that after doing those experiences back to back this year, that is the thing that I am most passionate about. I'm actually back in school getting my PhD because it does, you do have to have a doctorate in order to do that. And there are only like 20 psychiatrists who are qualified and who have done what they need to do in order to support these reality TV situations. And in scripted TV, there are no regulations. You get, usually like the universal thing is, regardless if you're a crew, actor, whatever, you get like, I think it's like 4 to 6 free sessions. But just like you said, nobody knows a lot of times. Like, you don't know.
Look into your insurance, because your insurance covers it all the way, especially if you're SAG-AFTRA. It covers all of that, down to acupuncture and massages.
Oh, wait a second.
Wow. Listen, it's a lot of things. It's like not realizing what your benefits, what you're not getting. But and so the second part of that is watch what you ask for from God, from yourself, and watch the rooms you walk into. Because you can't walk into a fire and expect not to get burned. You can't walk into the unknown wanting a sense of knowing. You know what I'm saying? There's a level of surrendering. So even as an actor, I've studied my lines. I'm prepared. I appreciate you're prepared. Everyone, I just work here. But there's also a space where you never know what could happen also. And that's why you do have a union, but there's certain spaces where how do you lay the blame? You know what I mean? So if I've gotten my physical, I've gotten my psych eval, I went to work, everything's good, and then I break out crazy at work today, or have a manic moment, or display a different representation than people are used to, what is everyone supposed to do?
I think there should be systems in place.
And what system is that? Because I'm in the middle of shooting the scene, getting paid a whole lot of money with 150 people that signed up for this very rigorous system.
I think just having somebody who is, like you said on Real Housewives, you have something that a lot of other shows don't have. Being introduced to that person ahead of time, so you know if something happens, you can go to that person. And also the production who is not equipped to handle a situation like that, knowing that they have someone who they can direct any of those situations to. It's just unfortunate that that isn't the standard and the norm everywhere.
Yeah. So for the ones that I did have, they were never in real time. So there was a Zoom prior to psych eval. You get the phone call, you talk to somebody, you have the number, then you shoot your show. If while shooting your show, you find that you need to talk to somebody, you have someone to call. They can't fly to Marrakesh where you're shooting right now. You know what I mean? So you talk to them, but you really need it, for me, after the fact. And if that's that paranoia in your bathroom later on, is the camera on my phone? Do I need to turn it off? Like that, it's kind of after the fact. Because in the moment, you're literally in the, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, my experience is only a little bit different because it's more similar to your newer show, your newer reality show.
Okay.
Because we were there filming the whole time. So for 3 weeks, we're not home. You know, there's no breaks. There's no anything.
My model was 3 months.
Yikes.
So you know that part. And it's just, I had a mental breakdown on, I think, on every show I was on. Just because I'm a very anxious person and I was going through a lot at the time and I didn't know what to expect. And I have a therapist. I had therapy when I was on the show, but because there was no like, okay, you know, you have your idea of what reality TV is, but when you go and do it for the first time and even the second time, even third time, people start switching up and you're not necessarily prepared for that.
Right. And production sometimes loves that.
Right. And then they're
you're describing reality.
Right.
That's unfortunate.
There's a lot of curveballs.
Even in that,
like,
I signed up for it.
Is like,
I'm collecting a check for it. There is still a piece of yourself that you're like,
yeah.
Ooh, okay, that was a lot. And you keep going and you do it again and it's fine, but there is.
So why do we keep going? If it was a lot, if it was so because people ask me often, like, will you go back to Housewives? I'm like, and you never hear me downplay Housewives. But I also have had my moment where I've decided that that is not my space.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to see someone go back into a place where you know is toxic and then expect it not to be toxic.
Because
like,
you
where's that
also
line?
realized that you didn't have the control you thought you had. I remember you said that about Eat, Slay, Love, that this whole time you thought you were in control of your life. And reality TV is something that you really do not have. You do not have control over.
Down to edit, like
the
that.
product,
you never
what
know
everybody
what
else is going to do. You know, where you're filming, even where you're filming, like they could tell you come here. You don't even know what's about to happen.
What's about to
Who's
happen.
going to walk in, any of those things. So I think part of that too is when you sign up for reality TV, you sign up for the unknown. And there is a level of strength that you have to have as a person, a sense of self that you have to have as a person, an ability to control your controllables and your ability to say, that does not serve me. And so someone 40 who started at 19, I can tell you that now. I have had many pop-offs on TV. Got it. It was my truth though. And I can't blame anyone else for my feelings. I can only take accountability. And I'm only to be charged with my attitude and my behavior. That's all I got. So
I will say, watching Eat, Slay, Love, you're very nice.
I'm too nice.
No, honestly, like
That breakfast scene with tea,
I know.
was so awkward.
Because, so you watched the show
3 times.
and you saw the young lady London. And when I see a Black woman in a grocery store, I'm like, hey girl, like there's you know what I'm saying? It's like, sis.
Yeah.
And so I have been misunderstood a lot. So I just felt like she was very misunderstood. I felt like I misunderstood her along with the rest of the
Which
girls.
is why I watched it so many times, because after the first time watching it, I
Like,
went
what did
back
I
like,
miss?
what did I miss?
Yeah.
And
Because even we
then
were saying,
I watched
okay,
it
we
with
got it
them.
at first. And then when it kept coming back up, we were like,
Wait.
we don't get it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were it was very difficult. However, the woman in me doesn't want to leave that unresolved. It goes back to who like Madam is in All the Queen's Men, like the desire to find some kind of a resolution.
Right.
And so I didn't know how it was going to play out. I didn't know she was going to leave. I didn't know she was going to walk away. I mean,
So you
I'm
guys
sitting in
were
little baby
really
chairs. She messing up my new little outfit. I thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also what I signed up for.
right.
I saw you and Tammy both trying
We
to
tried
get to
hard.
resolve.
We did.
And she just literally walked away.
Tammy did not have the patience for that, though. I will say,
She didn't.
Tammy was like, all right, listen. and I can't fault her for that because some people do not have.
I was gonna say I'm not mad at her.
No, I
because
can't fault her for that because some people are gonna be that way, and some people will be more patient. Everybody does not, and also I think she felt personally attacked about.
Yes,
definitely.
she was being personally attacked
because that's
and
something that was very
from the very beginning with the whole. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. Like,
well, I feel like she weaponized her truth, and Tammy had enough audacity and gall to tell her truth, which is very difficult. A lot of people do not have the balls to tell their truth. You know what I mean? And she did, and I felt like she was a little she used that to weaponize her and to try to bait her and to try to get her. So
there was a point where she said you have body dysmorphia.
I don't. And I'm very clear of what size my waist is. I get
it, right.
No,
I understand that, but I didn't know if they edited out your reaction because I was like, Eva's
no, I'm at a point in life where I do not put energy in things that don't serve me.
Yes.
So even if you say something that is so wrong and so disrespectful, unless you are my child and I need to correct you, unless we are in a space where we have to work together and there needs to be harmony created, it is very easy for me to create a non-existent reality of you. Like, I will expire you right across from me. Yeah. It is very easy. I will bring you in. I'm a Scorpio. So I love you hard or you don't exist in my world. Mm-hmm. And so for London, I wanted to love on her. I wanted London to see that women can get together, that you can be extremely different than me. But there is so much more that makes us similar than it will ever make us different.
And we're stronger in numbers. Let's stick together.
Right.
Why do this when we can do this?
Right.
And honestly, you don't even gotta want to do all of this. Why you want to fight?
That part.
Like, even if you don't want to,
it was very unnecessary. I was like, where did that just come from?
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, okay, first of all, I thought you looked amazing. Like I told you, I love the sweatsuits. I wear baggy clothes all the time. So
and that's the reason why I'm like, Angela. I was trying to figure out what to wear. I was like, yo, sis is regularly her. Yeah. So she's gonna wear her.
I'm gonna be wearing a baggy sweatsuit everywhere.
You know, but you can put on a tight dress and yak them up if you want to, but that's your comfort.
Well, I don't think it would look good right now.
I think that a lot of people beg to differ.
But yeah, so I just personally was like, why was she? I personally, when I saw that, thought that was like, damn, why
she
was
she very claws out?
It hurt, but I went through body shaming on social media for the longest. If I gained 5 pounds, what's going on? If I lose 5 pounds, what's going on? I stepped on the scene at 113 pounds at 19.
Right.
I'm sitting here at a nice 120. It ain't been much, but 3 kids in between. I feel like I should get a pat. Not, you know what I mean? But I don't need the diss. I don't need the pat. I just want to be left alone to live my little life. And so when she said body dysmorphia, I was like, okay, sis got me completely messed up. But it's giving projection.
She was took the words out of my mouth
because she said she had
definitely.
She said she had body dysmorphia.
Later on, it came out. But had I popped then, Angela, the younger me,
right?
If I would have popped then, it'd been like, we would have never got to the root of it. And I think it's one thing to do the show. It's another thing to look back at the show, to watch yourself, to be honest with yourself with what you watched, because some of it you like, some of it you don't.
That.
You know what I'm saying?
You represented yourself very well. I thought that show was nicely put together.
Shout out to the doctor.
Yeah,
I love that show.
And Zuri, so look,
makes me want to go to.
It's 4 of them. They go on this girls trip together, but maybe they're not all like best friends. It's not like a best friends girls trip. It's you knew Nivea and you knew Tammy. And you
London
just met London on that trip. But it's not like y'all are best friends, but it is like you guys had all gone through a divorce, a public divorce, which is not an easy thing to do. So it's like going on this trip to kind of like go to someplace we never would think to go to.
But we all went through, we've all been married, we've all been divorced, we all have children, we all been in the light for at least 15 years, and we all had public divorces. And we're all in our early 40s. And so it was an opportunity for us to get away from the world the show was called something else. I said, I want to Eat, Pray, Love journey. That is why I'm here.
What was it called?
Eat, Pray, Love. It was another show.
Oh.
I didn't say it. It was another name. When I went there for that interview, baby, that thing was called Eat, Slay, Love. Yeah. It made me so excited because it was the truth of the show. It was very honest. It was so honest. It was where we were. There were no thrills. There were no deals. And I think that London watched American reality TV or just thought that she was supposed to be away versus showing up and as her authentic self.
Right.
And I think a lot of people could learn from that, the idea of the imposter syndrome. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like them, so let me try to figure out how to be like them versus
just be
you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people haven't gotten to that place in life. Obviously, she was trying to find that place, and I wish she would have stayed.
I wish she would have stayed too.
Because to be 35 years old with no kids,
no man,
with no man, with nobody to go home to cook for you, you can get on any flight at any time, and what you do is run comedy for a living. Baby, I wanted to know so much about her life.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to know.
I wanted to know more about her too.
Yeah, because she's a comedian, and I didn't really know anything about her before that.
She moved to the United States
during
chasing
COVID.
her dream during COVID, and
yeah,
we just didn't get enough from her. London.
She's a Black woman from London.
Named
and so
London.
I was ignorant enough to think, London. Yes. I was ignorant enough to think that, like, you know what, we get it. Y'all Black women, we all got our issues. Let's go here and just
She was not
love on each
feeling
other.
the
She
same
was
way.
like, no, I'm not the same Black.
But you know
Like,
what's crazy
it's a
is
different
in
Black.
the very beginning.
Right.
In the very beginning, when she was kind of like explaining who she was and what her mission was, she literally was like, and I'm trying to meet new friends. No, you're not. Your actions are saying otherwise, ma'am.
But
You
I
are
went
not
by
trying to
her
meet new
words
friends.
first. That's all I had.
And then at the end, when she said that she was leaving, and she's like, "I love you all, girl. Stop lying. You don't even like us. It's okay."
I think that we all, as you know, because this is what you do for a living, we all have spaces that we can grow in. And I think that it takes time, and you are blessed when you, in your younger or earlier years, learn how to start living instead of letting life live you.
Yes.
And I think that Tammy and Nivea and I were in a place where we're not on this hamster wheel. It's not a rat race. I do what I do because I love it.
Yeah.
I say no more than I say yes to things. You know what I'm saying? And so
the power of no.
girl, that gives you a big money yes. But that difference, and I think, you know, not just being able to go and be free. I don't think that that's where she is in her growth, and having not always been there and having a whole lot more growing to do until the good Lord brings me home. I was able to recognize that in her and to just really. I don't have any sisters, so I was like, be my little sister.
Right.
Like, come
and
on.
I feel like a lot of comedians, sometimes their comedy comes from a space of pain.
Absolutely.
You know, and comedy is like their way of working through that from comedians who I know.
Kevin Hart, laugh at my pain. Like, he's like, instead of walking around bitter and upset at all the things that I didn't have and what didn't happen and who said what, let's laugh at it and move on. Look at me now. I'm getting paper. And what Jay-Z said, he never seen an ugly billionaire. I'm cute.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you say what you want.
So would you go back to Vietnam? I mean, because
yes.
it seems so
It went to
beautiful. It made
Vietnam
me
so
want to
bad.
go there.
Yes.
That was your first time
Someplace
there?
I never thought about.
All of you guys, first time
It
there?
was so good.
Girl,
Wait,
tell me
so that's
about
all-
this morning glory, because y'all morning glory down. And I cook.
And I was trying to tell, I was like, baby, these are the greens to the 10,000 power. It's like that summer mix greens with a turnip and the mustards and the collards
And
all
they sauteed
in it, baby,
with some garlic.
With garlic.
Yes. They kept asking for every meal.
Everywhere we went, it is so good. Now we'll run through you like a freight train.
Okay, that's
So
good.
get
Fiber.
ready.
Yeah, Nivea told us that too.
Yeah.
Not personally, but on the show.
No, Nivea's comfort with her bowels are absolutely
On the
crazy.
show, she was like, "Listen, y'all, I got to go.
I gotta go.
She's like, I was in there jamming too. They
But
I think you made a lot of
It's
people
good.
want to go to Vietnam because
Yes.
that was a very like, who would have thought?
Well, and it's like,
So
it's a
random.
safe space for Black women. That's always what I think when I'm on vacation. Yeah.
It's such a space, and not just Black women, but like to see the way the women boss the city. I think Mana might be from Vietnam. Mana might be from Vietnam.
Y'all need to do a
and then
spinoff.
made her way to Atlanta because the women run everything. They run the household.
The family.
They got the family.
Hannah.
You got the husband over there
Yeah.
cutting up the food. The woman, like,
We love
I
that.
was in college.
I
I
speak
had a
English.
business
No.
degree.
I am a boss.
Like, I own my own business.
My bike business. Yeah.
I own the bikes. He's my
fixes them,
mechanic.
period.
Like, they run everything. The rice fields. You would go through the rice fields. You think somebody lay down sod. No, they didn't. They took a blade of rice and put it in the mud. There's acres and acres of rice field are nothing but women down there
Hands.
with mud to their boots.
Wow.
Doing it one by
in
one.
there Twice a year is harvest season. That's the rice for the entire year.
My goodness.
Yeah.
See, look, the education of it, like you would never have even known if you hadn't gone there.
Where they did King Kong and they filmed it. We went through the all through the water, through the forest, and through the coves and caves. 2,000 boats. Who steer them? Who owned the boat company? All women.
I love that.
That's amazing.
When I tell you Vietnam women slay, like it gave me, I came back home like, you can't tell me nothing. Baby, I'm ready to film, ready to madam, you're up.
Madam.
How do you think that trip did help you though? Because I know when you went on it initially, you were going through it. Yeah.
Brokenhearted. I went on that trip. I was newly divorced. And I married the love of my life. So it's not like met a good guy, now let's get married. Like I met the only person that makes my heart do what it does. And so to figure out life after was like, I'm sorry, what? You want me to see with blinders on? Who does that? How? And I did not understand up. I couldn't see up. And thank God for a friend, my best friend, Robert, and a good friend that snatched me out the bed and was like, you're going to get up.
Goodness.
You have to get up. And then Will Packer's company called and said, we have this idea, but we want it to be about your personal journey. Like, we don't want drama. We want your life and what you're going through. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about that. And God was like, sis, you need to talk about that. Like, that's exactly what I'm going to need you to do.
And it helped.
And it was so cathartic. It was so helpful to have, like you say, the therapist, the people you don't know. Like, you know them, but they really don't know. So to be able to lean on someone and just cry without saying, remember this, and don't forget he did that, or don't forget when you felt like this, just to love on you. It helped me so much. It helped me understand where my heart truly was. I was off of social media. I got back on and realized I had a disease I didn't even have because the world was just talking about me. I was like, I got what?
Oh my gosh.
Like it was crazy. But it also helped me decide, like people try to figure out like work-life balance. It helped me decide, what if this in entertainment is real?
Right.
And what am I really going to deal with? And what's not real, I don't entertain. And what's real is how I get paid as an entertainer. And that's it.
Right.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I walk in every room with kindness, with love. I hope that when I leave a room, it's brighter than it was when I came in there, even if it's dark today. Like, that's all I got. I still believe in love. People ask, like, will you get married again? I hope I marry the same man again, let alone get married again. Like, I don't think that love is lost. It has embittered me. And I think that's what the trip did. The trip helped me actualize, girl, life is short. You live in it and do not let it live you, and live it to its fullest.
I love that for
with
you.
No regrets.
For all of you.
Yeah.
I feel like the three of you all had like an awakening of some sort at the end. And I felt like it made you guys closer as sisters now.
Oh, absolutely.
More from friends to sisters.
Like y'all probably hang out now.
All the time. Tammy's around the corner from my house.
They got tattoos together. Not really matching tattoos, but they got tattoos together. Which, that's for some people it's a permanent thing.
Yeah, Gigi would have did it.
It's a permanent thing, but it bonded us. And we got tattoos that represented whatever metamorphosis we were going through in our life. And so for me, it was coming out of this shell and just being free. And my whole thing has been surrendering. I have let go. I have let God. What he decides. If my flight is delayed, I guess I wasn't supposed to go there.
I know that.
You know what I mean?
Well, time to go in Scotland.
And that's your anxiety that you were talking about. Because I used to say I suffer from anxiety. I don't. You have a natural propensity to be more anxious, but you don't suffer from anxiety. And so when you give anxiety that kind of a real power,
listen,
then you will suffer from it. You don't give it that power. You know that certain things make you anxious, right? So you mitigate that. You find the tools from Zuri to mitigate.
Zuri's like, look, I gotta
what that looks like.
Let's put on a t-shirt.
You got
it's gonna say Zuri and Eva.
Right. Wait, I have to go back to what you said though. You hope you marry the same man again?
Maybe. I mean, I was on a show and they asked, and I pivoted because I'm promoting my television show, so I'm not really here to talk about my love life. Right. But so I pivoted and they asked, will you? Is there ever a chance? And I'm like, Okay, that wasn't right for that question. I
Season
was like,
4. No.
Right. I was like, you want to Bruno Mars? Leave the door open. So why should you watch my show? Like, and went on. But if I really asked myself the question, there's definitely not a no. Like I would.
Okay.
I never wanted to get divorced. Like I never wanted to not be with my husband. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You saw on the show, I can't not call the man my husband, my ex-husband. You know what I mean? There's no world. I mean, my ring is in my jewelry box here in New York. It's gonna always be with me.
Wow. Okay.
So
listen, we'll stay tuned.
Yeah.
Girl,
I'm praying you get whatever is best for you.
Right.
Yes.
That's what we pray for. Whatever is best for you and whatever it is meant to be.
Yes.
I want to ask you, for all the Queen's Men, Madam, what are some of those things that you take with you from that show? Like, what has Madam taught you to utilize in your real life?
Madam has taught me so much. Loyalty is everything. And Madam reminds me a lot of myself, where she doesn't have a lot of people. And a lot of people she can't trust. And a lot of people have met her under the reputation of Madam. You know what I'm saying? No one really knows Marilyn, except for my Blue. Blue grew up with me. Like, I've known her. She taught me how to shoot. You know what I mean? Like, that's my sister. Right. But everyone else, it's difficult.
Because they need you. They're under you. So it's a lot of doing for you.
Exactly.
And doing what you say.
It's the feeling of, are you in my world because you rock with me? And if I didn't have this, if I didn't give you this, if I didn't provide this, would you still be here?
But you also have a clear line between what's work and what's like, you know, because I also feel like there's times where you snap it back, like, let people know you work for me, get out there, do what you're supposed to do.
All day.
And so it is transactional. Do you think you could be friends with people who work for you? I want to ask Zuri this question because sometimes those lines get really, really blurry and fuzzy.
I think I put it on my actors. It's up to them. Because a lot of times we're in such vulnerable situations that I walk on the sets all the time and I can see them see me and I see their demeanor change because they don't want to necessarily do the intimacy. Intimacy is a high ask for a lot of actors, I find. And if the only association with me is that, you know, if I'm coming in for a movie and I'm working 1 day or 2 days or what have you, I try to keep those lines very professional, but I'm also open. You know, I'm a human and I like to make connections. I like to really, because I feel like I know these actors so intimately sometimes. And I think that that's also kind of vulnerable for them.
Very.
It's like I know them for 5 minutes and all of a sudden you never know the layers that have been disclosed to me.
Literally.
And that can be very vulnerable for people. So I try to let them kind of navigate that.
I have a question for you, a personal question. Well, due to my personal situation. So in the upcoming Magic City documentary that is now 5 episodes and not 3.
Ooh, Gigi's narrating.
I narrated.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I narrated. I got a little producer credit.
So what's it called?
And it's Magic City's documentary. I used to work there.
Oh, I did my bachelorette party. I bought Magic out. Magic was very happy with me.
I got my Magic jacket on.
I love Magic City.
Yeah, I got my little jacket on.
Okay.
But so in the upcoming documentary, my breasts are exposed.
Docuseries, yes.
Docuseries.
Docuseries.
My tits are out in the first episode. And when it wasn't like, it's a documentary, so of course there wasn't a script. And when they brought the idea to me, they were very like, oh, do you think that maybe possibly, you know, how would you feel if, and I'm like, what, y'all want my titties? Okay. And I was very like, no big deal for me, right? In the moment. Now, in hindsight, I do have a little bit of worry of, even though I think my tits are fabulous, I do have a little bit of worry of the, not really backlash, but like what's to come when
Did you sign off on it?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. If you didn't sign off on it, you did.
Nudity waiver?
Right, yeah.
No, I don't want to take it back.
No, but you could though. You still have a place where they can blur it.
No, I'm here for it.
She just wants to figure out
I
how to deal
prepared
with what
for
people say. She
that
wants
part.
to do it, yeah.
Asking in hindsight, because I know you prepare for what's happening in real life, but in hindsight I do have, and I was a exotic entertainer for a lot of years. You know, same thing with you. I would not have a problem stripping down and changing not just my tits but everything right now if I had to, even with people in the other room. I'm so used to being naked in front of strangers, but this is now the world. This is now on TV. This is now documented forever.
People gonna be pausing in memes.
That part. So my question is, I don't have any fear of like anybody saying anything bad, because again, I think my tits are fabulous. But my one, I want to say, issue is I'm single. So do you think that how do I navigate this in upcoming relationships?
Oh, girl, talk to me on that one.
Okay.
Because I've been doing this my whole
Because
career.
that's kind of the one thing I'm worried about. Like, yeah, I'm not a dancer. I'm representing myself as a dancer.
He ain't the one.
And okay.
If he can't handle it, he's not the one.
And that's how I felt when I was actually being a dancer. So I should have that same, what do you think? I should have that same sentiment?
I mean, I think so. I think that that's your own, like, that's your body autonomy. But I also feel like having proactive conversations about things. And it's not, are you okay with this? It's, this is me. This is what I've done. I want you to be aware of it.
Okay.
Right.
I work with a lot of, like, BMF is always inviting names and things, people who are not actors, but people who have, large social media presence and, comedians, music artists, and all. So when I'm navigating intimacy with them, I go about it in a little bit of a different way because they know that as soon as this releases, they might only be there for a sex scene, which is unfortunate, like to be that character. So just working proactively with them and talking about, in the event that you do this in this way, it lives forever.
Right.
What are you comfortable? So not only what are you comfortable with and doing with your body in this particular situation, but what are you comfortable with the world taking with you?
Because that's something that I didn't think of. And what made me think about it, not just sitting here, but the reaction that a guy that I don't even date anymore, but we had like a thing happening. And we did a South by Southwest premiere, and he went with me to the premiere, and I purposely didn't tell him that my tits were in the episode because I knew he was gonna be mad. So I'm like, if you're gonna be mad, then you might as well just be mad.
Can I put a pause in there?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Gigi's crazy.
Don't do that. Because exactly what you knew he was gonna do.
I didn't tell him.
Yeah, don't do that.
I didn't tell him, and somebody else told him before he got a chance to see it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Control your own narrative the best you can.
I thought I was by not telling him because I felt
because
like
but you took him to see
the
it.
element of the surprise, because I don't think it's such a bad thing. Like it's not just me. I'm not dancing.
That's
it's
what
not
you tell
sex.
him. So that's what you tell him.
Right.
You let him know, like she said, like it's very me.
Yeah,
I was comfortable with it.
And
the
I'm still
only
comfortable with it, for
discomfort
the
I
record.
honestly have right now is if you're uncomfortable. It's already done.
Yeah.
I'm yours. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And if he can't find his comfort in the person that you are and are comfortable with being, and that does not hurt you, then he's not your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and then if a guy also is not comfortable with that and that's not what he wants, right? That doesn't make him a bad person.
No, absolutely not.
It just means this is not
for
him.
I mean, I don't like my men in gray sweatpants.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me a preference.
Right.
I would prefer you not to walk outside with gray joggers.
Oh my gosh.
I do want to say,
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean. It's a challenge.
Yeah, somebody else told him,
It's a
like literally
challenge.
right before we sat down at our seats, and he didn't sit with me.
Why would somebody tell him right then?
I don't know, but
So you
somebody
have
was
haters
like,
in your orbit, small in your circle.
So what did he say when
You
he
know what
saw
I'm saying?
it? Like
Because if he sees this,
Yeah.
when he sees this, I hope he sees this very soon so he can understand what Gigi does, what I do, what you do. It's not as vogue. It's not what you think it is. We are actors. We are professionals. We have signed up for a job. And literally, I just work here.
right.
And in the UK, they be naked on TV all the time.
All the time.
But you still
On
Someone
regular
from London
TV.
will tell you that you're a girl in London because that is true. Like
Yeah,
I
girl
will
London.
say that I feel like in America we have a different view on
Nudity.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
when
it
Shonda
shifts.
Rhimes,
Yeah.
when she had that little intimate scene in Bridgerton, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Penelope!"
Right.
He
That's
put
one
his
of my
hand up
favorite
Penelope
shows.
dress,
Yeah.
and that was it.
I do want to hear what you have to say, though, Zuri.
So I was just gonna say, because you said I'm very comfortable with it and all of that. And still it's being brought to this space. So it may not be that you're uncomfortable with the act and like having your breasts out there, but there is a level of discomfort around something. Otherwise, I don't think it would come up in this conversation.
The discomfort is, I just don't feel like having to have the conversation of somebody else being mad at something that I'm not mad at.
You
know
don't
what
want
I'm
to
saying?
explain it.
I
Like
don't want to have
never
to explain it.
I've never told anybody first that I pose nude. I've
Oh
never,
yeah, she
I've
was
never,
Jordan did
Playmate
Play-
of the Year.
yeah.
I've never
She did
had
Playboy.
that conversation, and I've never actually thought to have it until just now. I feel like the only time it's ever come up is if they're a fan, low key,
or they Google
and then
you.
I found out on some sneaky.
And then they really be telling the boys like, I'm dating the playmate.
I've gotten that, but I've never gotten the shame.
I mean, my whole entire, I'm talking about entire from beginning to end, entertainer career, I was always in relationships, and I was dealing with guys who either liked it or didn't. If they didn't, we moved on.
How did you deal with them?
I've always been in a relationship. And I was in a relationship with said person when I was a dancer. So for him to get so upset is just like,
Right. But you knew he was gonna. I guess like when I was saying,
I knew he was going to get upset.
That's what I was saying.
I knew he was going to get upset because I'm retired now, and he wants me to leave that life behind.
So there was an agreement that you had with said man that you are no longer doing what you did, but you did do it, and was fine doing it.
Sure did.
But you knew he was going to be mad at it, and now he's mad at it, and you don't understand why he's mad.
That was a good breakdown.
Yeah, break it all the way down to the nitty gritty.
Like 4 words
to the nitty gritty. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's no longer
Angela,
a factor.
where's your mirror?
He's no longer a factor, but I'm just, because he reacted that way, it just kind of sitting here, it just popped in my mind like, damn, when my titties pop up on the screen. You kind of made it a bigger deal
by not saying anything. Because if you would have been like, by the way, before we go to this, my titties are out. He might, might, but it made it a bigger deal when he heard about it right before, when he's there with you. You purposely didn't tell him, and then surprised him.
Because you knew he was going to get mad.
I knew he was going to get mad. So moving on from him, is it something, my question is it something that you think I should worry about having to deal with moving forward with a potential relationship?
I think it goes back to what Eva said. If you know in starting that relationship that this is something that is going to be a point of contention,
then he's not my guy.
He's not your guy. Okay.
Just like in Eden, right? People were not allowed to take videos.
No, we don't do videos.
And so Magic City people weren't allowed to do that.
No, they were not.
This is different because now this is going to be something that's on Stars.
And I'm not dancing.
You knew that though.
Yeah.
I'm not dancing. It's just a scene.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because you're trying to qualify everything that you know you are totally fine with.
Right.
So you're qualified for the man. He ain't your man no more.
No.
He never was.
He wasn't. Well, he was at one point, but he wasn't during this whole.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So
who I'm always talking about.
You're qualifying it for yourself. You're trying to validate it for yourself, and that doesn't need to happen. Okay. What you're okay with is okay, and it's okay to not be okay tomorrow with what you were okay with doing today.
Right.
Like, so if you
know what's crazy?
It's like you can change. Yeah. That's a thing.
You know what's crazy? The Gemini in me, I'm so fucking psycho that I'm actually looking forward to it.
So he's definitely not your guy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I said that. Absolutely not your guy.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, no.
See, if you feel like you got to hide something, that ain't it.
Right. And also,
anytime you feel like...
You know what it was? I just didn't want to make it an argument prior to. And when I did it, we are not together. We were not together.
But you're postponing the argument that you knew was inevitable.
Yeah.
So you decided you wanted to have it on the night of your premiere.
No, well, I didn't think somebody was going to tell him.
Asking.
My vision was this: he would see it, and with it was going to be the reaction. Like he wasn't going to react because we were going to see it with everybody in the theater.
Yeah,
right? That is so unrealistic.
But
you like the baby, you know, the little baby that looks over and go, "Oh bullshit." That is this moment.
Gigi, come on now.
But I didn't have a moment for that to happen because somebody right before he walked in and sat down was like, "Yeah, you know his titties is in." And he got mad.
Why did they
so he
say
was
that?
mad because somebody else told him.
That made it even worse.
And your non-friend is a hater. My hand's itching. We get money,
wait.
Let's get it.
I can't wait for the cameras go off so I can tell y'all who said it. Because y'all know this person.
All right. Well, listen, I hate that we have to end this, but I am excited for the new season of All the Queen's Men.
I have something to tell you about the show.
Okay.
Oh, yes, girl.
You get 2 episodes.
2 episodes on Thanksgiving night.
And I'm home Thanksgiving night.
I'm home too.
It's Thanksgiving night. Stuff your face, see your family, kiss your loved ones, do all that good stuff.
I can't wait.
And then sit with your good Judys or whoever you watch it with. We are dropping 2 episodes on Thanksgiving. And then after that, every Thursday, you get a brand new episode of All the Queen's Men.
So glad I have BET Plus.
20 episodes. We got a lot to watch.
You have a lot to watch, and you have appointment. You have something to do at appointment on Thursdays. Your man want to watch football, or your non-man, maybe new potential man. I don't have one either. We can go hang out.
Okay.
And there's definitely some titties out on the show, just FYI.
Yeah.
So
I was finding mine out.
Oh, shit. I had a body double. I was like, you think Eva really did that?
Oh, that was my perky titties.
It was?
What?
Looking good.
Listen, that's all mine.
So you should tell the guy, look, Eva did it. No problem.
And moreover, you should tell the guy,
but you know what?
I'm
That was
comfortable
my
with it.
that was my my response, my rebuttal was like, when an actress is titties out on TV, nobody cares. Why do you care? And he's like, you just want to be a hoe forever. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Okay, we are definitely going to
Forget him. Forget him.
I'm really sorry. No, that's not.
And don't let no man call you a hoe without busting him in his head.
But just as a recap, when y'all start watching this new season, we get to see what's going to happen with your father on the show.
Yes, this new season, it's all about vengeance. Madam believes in God, but vengeance's mind saith the Lord is for Madam. She is the Lord in this situation. And when it comes to my dad and him being kidnapped, I might not care about a lot. And these boys dancing, this is what you signed up for. But when it comes to my daddy and that blood,
We ain't playing no games.
I play no reindeer games, even on Christmas, when it comes to Cadillac. So this season of All the Queen's Men, you see Madam in a space you've never seen her before because she does not have the control she's used to having. Okay. Imagine going home and you click your lights on and they don't come on. Turn the water on and the water's not on. You're like, hold on, is the bill not like what's going on? Like the control that Madam is used to having, she no longer doesn't have. And the one thing that drives her father is her daddy. So
new season. November 28th, 2 episodes. We inside.
Yes. BT Plus.
We inside.
BT Plus is going down. Oh my God, I can't wait to get to know you more. You're such a doll.
Thank you.
You're such a doll.
I think, and Zuri Pryor-Graves, let people know where they can find you and more about what you do.
Intimacy with Z everywhere. And more about what I do in terms of intimacy coordinating.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they can find you and everything about what you do, Intimacy with Z.
Oh, yes. They can find me, any of my therapy stuff, any of my intimacy coordinating. I'm writing a book about intimacy coordinating and developing my own modesty stuff. So we have more things.
Good, because not everything fits everything.
Nope.
Sukiana said it. I can't put everything, can't
the
put
colors
don't
not
fit
quite
in
right. The fit's not quite right. We're going to fix it.
The colors.
Please
I
fix
love
it, girl.
this for us.
We're going to
Okay.
fix it.
Yeah.